Hey everybody, it's me again. It's Lori Morgan Ferrero with my co-host Jafat Cohen. And I just saw the live thing go on, so I'm going to tell you again who this is. Lori Morgan Ferrero with Jafat Cohen, my excellent co-hostess. And we are here to talk about words that attract cash. We're on day 9 out of 10 of this free coaching sequence. And it's going to end tomorrow. I'm kind of feeling verklempt, a little sad about it, but the truth is what Yafat and I discussed is because in the United States, it's a holiday weekend. It's the 4th of July, Independence Day. Let's, be independent. And so we've decided to keep the videos up over the weekend. So if you want to binge watch them and actually gather more points, that's really cool too, because we're going to continue giving out prizes. And so you'll have until Monday morning, yep. Sunday at midnight, let's just say. Sunday at midnight Pacific is really kind of when things are going to get shut down. And I have to tell you, Yafat and I were having a conversation about this before we went on air, and I'm like, there's a lot of really good stuff in this series. I'm not sure how much I actually want everybody to have it for free, and not from a selfish standpoint, but just because I've worked on this stuff. This is my livelihood. This is my proprietary information, and you get it for free, and it literally can change your business. It's changed a lot of people's business in the past. So please watch the videos if you haven't, watch the replays. And those of you who are here today, thank you for joining us live. And like I said, tomorrow's the last day, but it's a double header. We're going to do a 7 a.m. Oh my God, 7 a.m. Pacific time call, as well as this regular time at 1 o'clock, which will just be a Facebook call, because I'm not as crafty with all the technical stuff as Yafat is, and that's just the way it is. We're going to do it twice, though, on Friday. And so welcome to the people who are here today. Yafat, how are you doing?
I am doing amazing. Let me just say hi to everyone here. And we're having like really awesome interaction. So first of all, the techie stuff. Let me bring in Facebook comments. Yay! What up? What up? What up? So we can hear.
I love that you can do this, because I'm like, what?
Right. So we got Facebook comments. If you comment on Facebook, we can see you. So we have Gabby here, says thank you for leaving it up until Monday. And Paula Ritchie says, blue is your color, Lori. And
oh, really? Why, thank you.
Why, thank you. And then David Watson is asking a question about a headline. David, why don't you jump into the Hangout so we can actually talk to you?
Oh, and that's at wordsthatattractcash.com, right?
Yeah, he's on our page right now, and he is actually leaving a comment. And his comment is, oh, hi, John. He's like... He's on
That's
Facebook.
My husband. He's spying on me to make sure I'm actually doing my work.
So David is asking, headline, doesn't your marketing deserve the very best images? And it's for a sales page selling stock photos, and he would love some feedback on that headline if possible. How does it make you feel? What does it make you think of? So today we are in the After Effect. And so, Lori, if you want to answer that first, or do you want to jump into the After Effect first? Let us know.
I want to just give people the after factor, where we're at, so people aren't lost who maybe have not been able to follow along with us while we've been doing this. I mean, 10 days is a lot of time. I understand, and I really, really appreciate those of you who've been hanging out with us and sharing and commenting. It's been a blast. But what I want to do before, David, thank you so much for that, the headline. That's something I want to think about a little while I go over what we talked about so far. So if you don't mind, if you could bring up the graphic, which is the mind map of the 5 factors of evolutionary marketing. Yes. And thank you. So what I do with my metaphor if you will, with the 5 factors of selling in relationship marketing, in what I call evolutionary marketing, because you evolve or you die, right? It's Darwinism. you have to we're going away from the hype and towards relationship marketing. And that's what this is about. And so I relate it as a metaphor to courtship or sex, however you want to put it. But at any rate, we have the 5 factors that you can see it's kind of a cycle. It goes in a wheel and it continues going. And this is about client retention. It's about, so you don't have to keep going out and finding new people, because you're taking care of people in your community already. And so I want you to think of it, as the metaphor for courtship and the metaphor for marketing. So when you have somebody that you are actually wanting to sell to, well, let's start from the beginning. We start with the flirt factor. Let's talk about courtship first, because that's the juicy part, right? Mm-hmm. So when you want to attract somebody, you need to know about them. You do a little flirting, you do research, and you do your homework. Same with marketing. When you want to attract a client, a customer, you need to know who the heck you're talking to. And right. That's what we've discussed. You guys can also go back and watch these replays, by the way, and I recommend you do. But at any rate, that's what the flirt factor is. The flirt factor is the foundation of getting to know that person, figuring out who it is that you want to have a courtship with. And in marketing, everybody is not your customer. And that's what people think they are. I got to tell you this quick. One of my long time ago clients or students actually worked for a funeral director. Isn't that a strange industry? So at any rate, she said, well, everybody's my customer because everybody dies.
Oh, so wow.
It was hard to argue with that, except that you do need to make some choices and to really zero in on, yeah, everybody does die, but let's find out exactly who it is that you can sell to, that you can really push your message to. So,
well, but to say something about that,
yes.
Surely not everybody can afford her services, right? So,
Aha.
So she does need to know who she's talking to, because if she markets to people who can't afford her, then yeah, they die, but they can't use her.
Exactly. So that's what we talked about with the after factor. And then once you figure out who it is that you want to have a relationship, whether it's in marketing or in courtship, then the next step is you got to build trust. Because I got to tell you, we didn't go into a lot of this. It's something that I go into more in my program with the neuroscience. But in general, if women don't trust men, and this is not just a gender thing, by the way, but if there's no trust, there's not going to be a sale. Now, I can't say the same necessarily for guys, and I know there's some guys on here. Maybe you guys want to challenge me on it. I don't know. But at any rate, having trust in a marketing situation is crucial, because why are you going to throw your money away if you don't trust that marketer? And we had a big rant yesterday about some of the stuff that's going on in the internet marketing industry that's been they pulled back the curtain a little bit. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but at any rate, the trust factor has to be there. And we talked about ways to develop that. And then once you've developed the trust, once you've made a connection with the person that it is that you want to market to or have a courtship with, then am I freezing your phone?
No, you're fine. It's just like I was trying to share the screen and then it kind of like popped out. So I'll do it now as I say hi to Michael Krisa from...
Hi, Michael! I saw him. I tried to not read the comments. Yafada's yelled at me, no reading comments. But I saw Michael, and I haven't seen you in years, darling. It's so good to hear that you're here. Thank you.
So there we go. So now people can see what you're talking about. There we go.
So there we are. So we're at the trust factor. You see, like I said, it's like a wheel. So the first one was the flirt factor, and then there's the trust factor. And I gave you examples of ways that you can build trust. Then you get to the close factor, and the close factor is where the exchange of goods happens. So in courtship, it's a commitment, let's say, wink, wink, however dirty you want to make it. But it's like, yes, we have a relationship. We're committed. We're going to have sex. We're going to get married, whatever it is that works for you in your relationship. But in marketing, the close, of course, is the sale. And these other factors have to be in place before you get to the close. And we talk about some of the things that make a close easier to get to once you have overcome the flirt factor and the trust factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we discussed that yesterday, and now today, let's assume the sale, and now we're in the after factor. And now, so if you're in courtship, it's like, oh, this guy is the best in the world. He's delightful. And in marketing, it's like, this is the best product I've ever used. And you want to tell your friends, and that moves into the next step too. But at any rate, you have made that commitment. You've made the commitment to buy, or you've made the commitment to be in a courtship situation, right? And so it's not over yet, because let me ask any of you guys who are in any relationship or who have ever had a relationship, which I bet is everybody. What do you think about, like, once you've had a date and what happens afterwards? Like, what do you expect after a date with a person, a human, a man, a woman, whatever the other, there's so many options.
With an alien, chicken. What do you expect from a red hot chicken? Okay. So I will jump in, and then I would love to see Cheryl is here with us, and Sally's here with us. And David, you're saying that you're trying to come in, but you're having some challenges. So I shared the link. If you guys want to join us, I shared the link to the Hangout directly in the comments. We'd love to meet you. So what do people expect? Well, if it was a good date, right?
That's a good point.
So if it was a good date, then you expect a follow-up, and hopefully they don't play the games of like, well, let's not call her for 3 days and let's not do that, right? There's no games.
You're exactly on target. You thought that's exactly what it is. It's very similar to the dating scene. And, I haven't been on the dating scene in 20 odd years. So I'm not sure, I hear my girlfriends talk about it and their frustrations, and guys too. They're like, there's no good women out here. But at any rate, it's you want to hear from them. Elizabeth, thank you for saying that. You want some follow-up, of course. And this is the one place that marketers fail so easily. They're like, yeah, I got my money. I'm done.
Yeah.
See ya. And that's the worst thing that you can do, because then you have to go out and you have to find new customers. You have to flirt with new customers and build that trust and make that sale, instead of working with people who are already in your community and who already trust you. So there's a lot of overlap with the after factor and the trust factor, to be honest. Some of the stuff that we talked about on the trust factor, can we go back to that diagram, please?
Yes, but before we do, let me just share a few things here.
Do, please.
Yeah, Kara says more relationship building, getting to know each other better. And she also says the 10 days have flown by. Yes, they have, Kara. We haven't got to meet you. Join us in the Hangout so we can meet you.
I know. I know. Well, she was on an airplane before. I don't know.
Yeah, she was. Hopefully she landed. And she's also asking, does the famous Red Hot Chicken have a name? Because inquiring minds want to know. Does she have a name?
It actually does have a name. How funny, Kara. Nobody's asked me that. The Red Hot Chicken's name is Mo, and M-O-E, and it's named after my grandmother, Maureen, because she was always hovering. And I liked it because it was a unisex name, and I asked my chicken, like, what do you think your name is? And it came to me that it was Mo. So that's her name.
There you go. So it's Mo. And then Sally had something to Sally or Cheryl. I think Sally had something to say. Sally, do you want to unmute and just share what you want after the first date? Oh,
Hi.
Cheryl. Oh yeah. Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
Sally.
Hey, you'll be getting fed up with my voice.
Not at all. Are you kidding me? I want to bottle it.
I just basically said the same thing that I think someone had said earlier. Just hopefully a second date if I like them.
Say
Yeah,
that
why?
again?
If you like them. If you don't like them.
If I don't like them, then I'm blocking their number, and that's basically like an unsubscribe, I suppose.
There you go. Exactly right. Right. They're out of your world. They're out of your community. You don't need them. And there's too many other people who are trying to get your attention. So I fully agree. And by the way, Sally, you were our winner yesterday, and I didn't email you. I apologize. So I want you to email us about what gift certificate you want. Your Red Hot Chicken is coming because you asked.
Okay.
But meanwhile, you also have Hulu or Spotify or Amazon or Target. I don't even know if you have a Target over there in Scotland.
No, I don't think we do.
Well, there you go. Then I'm guessing Amazon.
Yes. I'll take the Amazon one, please.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you for sticking around and contributing. I really love this. It's so wonderful. From all over the world. It's great.
So let us go into our sharing thing. There we go. Hold on. My bad.
Ooh,
We are.
like the
The sharing
Matrix.
is not. Yeah, it's fascinating. My little sharing stuff really wants just one window. So there we go.
Okay.
There we go. So then we get the after factor that is similar to the trust factor. You asked to have this one.
Yes, exactly right. Go up a little bit to the diagram so we can look at it first. So we can just review a little bit about what the close factor was, which we discussed yesterday, and I highly recommend watching that one because I'm telling you, I gave away insider secrets like nobody's business, the stuff that I had to learn for years and years, and I totally gave it away. Which, that's I'm here to help you, but if you're not going to listen and help yourself, then
take
sorry,
action.
it's not
You
on
got to
Monday.
take action, right? You got to take action.
Exactly. You got to take action. And so the close factor is basically, it's about the conversion. And so we talked about writing an irresistible offer because you might have the best copy in the world, the best marketing in the world, the best salespeople in the world. But if your offer sucks, people are not going to buy it. So that's something that needs to be actually tested and tweaked, and you might want to try different ideas around that. So you need to have an irresistible offer. You also, in relationship marketing and evolutionary marketing, you need a no pressure close. And that means you're not a used car salesman and you're not driving somebody to make a decision like, oh, you have to talk to your husband. Well, what kind of a woman are you that you can't make your own decision? Or there's so many different high pressure things. And Elizabeth had even said yesterday, a lot of people have agreed that if there's too much pressure, we're gone. Your customers are gone and you may never get them back. So you don't want to blow it here at the close factor part. So you also, we talked a little bit about NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is some sort of language ventriloquism that, again, you can hear from yesterday's, so I'm not going to review that now. You can hear on yesterday's replay. You want to have a guarantee, but there are some reasons sometimes when you may not have a guarantee, or you may have a different kind of guarantee than a money back guarantee. So we discussed that yesterday, bonuses and how to make it easy for them to return, just make their life easier to be a part of your world. And so after you've done that, now we go into the follow-up, the after factor. And now you can go ahead and slide down to the next screen, you thought, please. Thank you, love.
You're
I
welcome.
love having somebody to move all this stuff around for me. It's the best. It's the best. So now the after factor is really similar to the trust factor because you're continuing to build trust, right? So we talked a little bit about like sort of what do you expect if you're on a date, like after. Yeah, follow up, right? When you want to text or something. But what kind of follow up? What really works for you guys? And I'd love for you to put this in the comments, either on Facebook or on the Google Hangouts, whatever works out for you. But I would love to hear, what do you find, what ways do you feel that stimulating trust would continue to work after the sale? So how do you build trust after the sale? Or how would you expect it as a customer? We're all customers. We all buy things. So when you buy something, what are your expectations? So that's what I want to hear about right now.
Okay, well, let's talk to the guys who are here and who are talking to us right away. So Cheryl, unmute, darling, and let us know, how do you build trust?
Oh, I love Cheryl. Yay!
Yeah. Here she comes.
So how do I build trust? Well, yeah, by being authentic, by letting that I'm there, and I absolutely hate when you begin to feel like you're just another number on somebody's email marketing program, and especially don't like when I get a sign after you got the program and they say reply to this email, click here to go to our support. You just all this time wooing me. You just spent all this time educating me. You just spent all this time to get me into your orbit, and then you're saying, "Don't contact me." Talk about a one-night stand.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh. Great correlation. Yeah, and that I see that a lot, unfortunately, as internet marketing has evolved, or marketing itself has evolved. It's very much like a one-night stand, unless people have follow-up built in. Autoresponders. I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit.
No, I think all that's good. I think all of that's good and necessary from systematizing a business. But I don't know how what's the magic formula so that somebody doesn't feel wham bam thank you ma'am.
I know, I love what Sally just said.
What she said.
Wham bam thank you ma'am. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it definitely does feel like that. And you feel kind of a little dirty and a little used if there's not a little bit of sincere follow-up. And sure, autoresponders are great. And for those who don't know what an autoresponder is, because I actually run across people who don't, but an autoresponder is an email that's pre-written that goes out after a certain action happens. And so the thing with autoresponders is they are impersonal. And I got to tell you, like this week, Marie Forleo had a fantastic video. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of video. I'm a reader, but I loved this. So she had, it was either would you rather learn about neuroscience or see a guy in a mankini? And I was like, well, personally, I want to learn about neuroscience because I'm a geek, but I'm still curious about the mankini at the same time. So I wrote back and I said, this is an amazing email. It is going in my swipe file, and I love your concept. And so she wrote back to me and said, thanks for writing. I'm so glad to have you reading, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the blogs, blah, blah, blah. But at any rate, it was a real person. So I feel like somehow that's got to be factored into the after factor. you can't do it all automated. It's just not going to work. It's not going to land and connect with people. Don't you agree, Cheryl?
Yes, definitely. I mean, if nothing else, yeah, go ahead, automate it, project the sense of availability, or project the sense that, you know, that $2,000 I got from you was really sweet. See ya. You know, like you have to project that, you know, and Lori, I don't know, you know, I think that Facebook groups are filling and bridging some of that gap, you know, like where you know, like I understand that a time factor availability. I mean, there's limits to how much time you can spend during a day, but I think that like the Facebook groups are it's like a chasm. That's like something that is being bridged between land on this side and land on this side, that people can come together for somewhat of the community aspect, so that they, you know, like the other members are filling in the gap for that whole afterglow stuff.
I agree with you with that, Cheryl, but I also want to add that I don't think as a marketer that you can simply rely on your ocean of customers to float you. I feel like you've got to also get in there, roll your sleeves up a little bit. This is the stuff that Oprah Winfrey does, and that a lot of Jimmy Kimmel and people actually who are incredibly busy and incredibly popular, they still find the time for their customers or for their audience, let's call it. So
Taylor Swift does a great job.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Taylor Swift. She does
Taylor Swift.
A great job.
Yes.
I mean, she's not in my music genre, but I read about what she does and how she does it, and she shows up at people's houses with gifts, you know.
That's true. She's actually a pretty good example of
humanism,
going out of the box as far as follow up and keeping the audience connected, keeping them wanting to stay in her orbit, like you were saying. I like that. That's a great example, Cheryl.
Yeah. You know, can I bring up two other points, because I wasn't able to come up, I mean, when in the relationship part, you know, I don't know, this is guys, you know, used to, you know, went back in those earlier days, when there was a lot of dating, I found that guys' mothers loved me. They just thought that I was like the Renaissance person. They loved me, but they didn't want me to marry their sons because they didn't think that I would take care of them in the traditional sense, you know, like how. So I want to bring up gender, and I want to bring up generational issues.
Love it.
You know, like in the sense that when you're talking about building relationships, I think that both genders, to go along with what you've been saying, do relationship building differently. And I also know that in each decade we act differently. And so I'm thinking about looking at some of these, like these marketers and some of the messaging and some of the targeting for our own products and services. And you may cover this in your course, I'm not really sure. But those decade, if you look at women, they look different every decade. If you look at men, they look different every decade. So the things that would work on a 30 to 40-year-old woman or a 30 to 40-year-old man aren't really necessarily going to work on a 40 to 50-year-old. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely makes sense, Cheryl. And that is in part of the program. And something I kind of alluded to with the flirt factor is it's segmenting, right? You need to really do your homework as far as who it is that you're talking to, and understand all the different avenues that you could be going down to reach your target or your target market. And then, you know, you make some choices of how to deliver that message, and you might have different messages for different audiences, and that's fine. You might have something for a 40-year-old man. You may have a different message for a 60-year-old man. So that's very viable. I'm totally on the same page with you on that.
Okay.
Was that? I thought there was another point. But
no, I was just, you know, I mean, I was Jeff, you know, like Like I just, the gender issues, you know, like the, don't ever call me dude, you know, and, but we talked about that the other day. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's, I mean, girls and guys, they build relationships differently. And all that was the point. You know, like we think that we've got all this bravado and that, you know, I am woman, hear me roar. But we do in a male-female in relationships. I think a lot of us do fall back to those whole grade school, junior high, high school ways where, okay, so you went out with Bob on Tuesday and you go through all this anxiety until he either texts or calls or, you know, post something to your privately, I mean, wherever. But I bet, you know, like it goes to those traditional roles.
Well, you know what? You bring up something that I didn't go into in a lot of detail, but this is one of my like passions, and I'm going to be really geeking out on you guys right now. But it is the neuroscience. As when we were coming out of the swamp and whatever it is, that our DNA was being developed, men and women literally developed differently. And this is why I studied the female brain and the male brain and how we respond differently. So I take it back to the caveman era, if you will, it's just simpler without, you know, let's not bring in dinosaurs and all that, but just with the caveman, cavewoman, the hunter, the gatherer. Mm-hmm. It's something that is literally in our DNA. And of course, I'm making big generalizations, but it is something that's still very viable. And that as a marketer, if you ignore this, you're crazy, because men and women do look at things differently. And so one of the things with when you take it all the way back to the caveman era is that men are stronger generally, not always, but they're bigger, they're stronger, they're very single focused. They go out and hunt. They are very status motivated, and in that they want to be the top dog. And that's why you hear some of this, you know, hyperbole about I'm crushing the competition and blah, blah, I'm the king of the jungle. So you hear that, right? Exactly.
I'll throw you in the fire, baby cakes.
That's it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's another side to it that's developed over the last 100 years. And that is women actually having more economic power and more social power than we had before. It was a very patriarchal society. Men were the, you know, the dudes who took care of things, and women, it's not that we had a lesser role in any way, but women, our bodies are developed to make babies and to take care of, to be nurturing, and not to travel around and kill things, but to keep the village going and to keep the communication and the connection going. And that still lives on today, which is, this is one of my favorite things. You totally caught me, Cheryl. It really fascinates me how people continue to think, no matter what other stuff is on top of it. Psychology Today says that people today, oh shoot, I forgot the dang quote. I used to quote it all the time, but it's basically that we still run around in fast cars and cell phones, but we're like cave people at the same time, because our actual genetics, our DNA has not really changed that much, even though over the last 100 years, over the last 10 years, things have changed dramatically as far as how we communicate. But we haven't had time as human beings to catch up to all this technology that's like, think about it, 100 years ago, certainly we didn't have internet. We didn't have any of these kinds of connections. Right.
But you know, we still feel loved the same way today as people felt loved 100 years ago. We still feel excited when seeing something, and regardless of the channel of communication, we still react the same way today than we did 100 years ago. So the methods of delivery of all of this messaging, there's more of them. But to reinforce what you said, you've been saying all week, the core cave woman, cave person emotions, like that, those whole things.
Right.
And see, and I think that's crucial, that people understand, like what you've been teaching about foundational things, like take it down to the bottom, even though you can layer on and apply it to what's going on today. I mean, neuro-linguistically, we haven't caught up.
We haven't. And I don't even know if we ever will, because we are, it is in our DNA. Our brains are actually developed in a certain way to where men are very single focused. I have so much material on this. They don't necessarily want to have a whole bunch of chatter, whereas women are much more about community and getting the social aspect going, and villages, and you might need a babysitter, so you better get along with everybody. You might need some extra food if your hunter is out too long. So these things we don't think about them when you're out in the grocery store or you're online on Amazon or whatever, but it's very much a factor of who we are as human beings, how we respond to the rest of the world. So that was a great point you brought up. Thank you.
Let's go back to our little worksheet.
Okay.
Love your rants, guys. But let's finish that, because we have about 20 minutes and we want some.
Oh my God, this flies by. I'm telling you, I'm gonna miss this. I love it.
Yeah. Let me share my screen for a second. Where we are? Here we are. There we go. So we are on the experience, and we talked about how do other people develop trust, right? And the way that we develop trust is by, there we go, bigger, is by following up on what we're doing, not leaving it out there for, like, hey, got the man, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, got the money, and forget about you. So it's in the follow-up stuff, right?
Exactly. And so we've already talked about autoresponders and how having systems in place is wonderful, but you have to have a human touch as well. And so some of the other things, what else can you do to make them feel heard, to make your customer, your client, the person that you've just connected with, feel important and not like they were just a disposable one-night stand, right? So one of the other things that you can do is ask their opinion. A lot of people are afraid of that, but ask them, what do you think about this? And get them to actually look at the product or your service and give you feedback and listen to it. And don't be nervous. I used to be really nervous because I didn't want anybody to not like anything I did. But the truth is, you can learn from what people have to tell you, and you can improve and relate to other people better and relate to those people too. So somebody had asked before, how do you, I don't remember who asked, I'm sorry, but how do you get somebody's attention back? How do you get their business back if you messed up?
I think it was Sally.
Oh, good one, Sally. So that's two separate things, isn't it? Asking their opinion is something like you're going to send out a survey maybe, or ask about their experience, right?
Yeah, you know what? This is really interesting, because I was thinking about this today. How many times when someone emailed you or talked to you or social media, how many times have you felt heard? I mean, that's a basic need, right? We just need to feel like, even if someone doesn't agree with us, we just want to be heard. How many times have you felt, like in the last week, when have you felt heard? When you were talking to your partner, your kids, your spouse, online, reading something, you just want to express something, and when you want to see that someone actually heard you. Which I think what we're doing right now is awesome, Lori, because not only are you hearing everybody, but you're also, kind of like validating them or helping them out or responding face to face. When does that happen in our online interactions? And that's, I'm going to talk about Cheryl. She's going like, Facebook groups are doing it. Really? Because if I comment on something or if I post something on Facebook group and there's like cricket, 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 I'm not going to feel heard. I'm not going to feel like I belong. I'm not going to get my question answered, right? But I'm a part of a group that doesn't pay attention to me. So that's, I think, is super important. It's something that you, Lori, are talking about. You're the one responding to every email that you get. So people feel heard when they are reaching out to you, like just like how you felt with Marie Forleo.
Well, exactly right. And it's not like I have plenty of time to just sit around and answer emails. Trust me.
No, but you are great at the follow-up, at the after factor. You master the after factor, and so that's how you increase the relationship there.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's a personal thing for me too. I enjoy it, and you know, if you don't, you need to kind of get over it a little bit, because I believe personally, and you may disagree, people, or not, but I believe that you need to be accessible to a degree to people who are putting their energy and adoration and their trust in you. I think it's really important. And so sometimes I think, you know, that's what you're going to have to do. Now, if you have a million emails to respond to, of course, you're not going to respond to them all. I understand that. I don't have a million, but nevertheless, it's
but that, you know what? That's
heard.
rich people's problems.
Yeah, right.
Have a million people email you every day. And I think even Gary Vaynerchuk said, you know, he goes, that's how he spends his day, reading his email and responding to them and all that stuff.
Oh, how cool. That's wonderful. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing from the good guys, the good people who do that. So asking their opinion about their experience with you, that's the second thing. The first, there's a few things in the trust factor you can fill out on your worksheet. The first one is to let them know that they've been heard by some personal contact. And it doesn't always have to be you. Of course, it can be someone on your team. However, if you really want to build a tight-knit community, you are going to step in there sometimes and do the work. You're going to roll up your sleeves and you are going to respond to people who are responding to you, because you have elicited a response. So to me, you are responsible to keep that love going, to keep it going, and to stay connected, especially if you want to work the cycle that I've created. That's the 5 factors. If you want to keep it going, it's gonna stop if they don't feel heard. So they bought something from you and they feel like, oh, well, that's great. No, they don't care about me. I'm moving on to something else, or maybe I'll even buy from their competitors, or I don't know. But it's, to me, as a relationship marketer, I feel like, and I'm not like technically like a dating coach, but you know what I mean by the evolutionary marketing. To me, that's important. It's a part of the necessary steps.
Yeah, and you know what? Another thing that is super cool and important is that you need to know what your market wants, right? You need to know what their questions are, what they're struggling with. You even know like whether your program works, you know, like, is that really what your audience wants? So you can rely on secondhand information, like your assistant,
right.
or you can actually get to know your audience and get to know them. I mean, like, get to know your people.
Well, exactly. Like, you're not going to outsource a date, right?
Right.
Hopefully. So you got to put a little bit of the time in. If you're in this business, if you're in the marketing business, this is what keeps you in business.
Exactly. Outsourcing dates, Sally says.
And by the way, David, we will get to your headline in just a moment, but I have one more piece of the after factor to go over and to see if anybody else has any input. So another thing that you can do with the after factor is to reward them for being part of your community. Now, we're doing that here with the gamification. You guys are playing and you're responding and sharing and liking, and you're really involved, and I love it. It's like I said, it's like a party. It's great. So we are rewarding you back with gift certificates and discounts and red hot chickens and different things. So you can do the same with your people, you can give them a discount. And Sally, this is something that you mentioned the other day when we were talking about how to get their attention back if they don't have a great experience. And one of the things was offer them a discount for a future service, or give them a service for free even. Yeah. Whatever, you know, you can work out in your business. There are lots of different options, and we'll cover those in the evolutionary marketing plan for those of you who are signed up and the future people who are signing up. So reward them for being part of your community. Let them know they're important to you. So like if you were in a dating relationship, you would probably send flowers, or you would send a nice text message or a card in the mail or a little note on your car. There's all kinds of things that you could do. So it's the same with marketing. You want to reward the people who are in your community for being in your community, and then they're going to want to stick around more because they're going to feel important. They're going to feel heard, like you thought was saying.
Yeah, and you know what's really fascinating is that getting like a letter in the mail, like a postcard or something like that, like something that is right. Like when was the last time you opened your mailbox and there was something nice there except bills? Like we don't send letters anymore, right?
I know.
Yeah, and so to get kind of like just like a, hey, thanks for joining us, you know, I love to have you on my team, like little postcard or something. That's awesome. Like so many people just take pictures of that and put that on like, oh my God, look what I got, and social media kind of stuff. So that's
true,
right? Free advertising, but like
right.
It makes people feel great.
That's a really great point. Like I got a beautiful elephant card. I should have brought it out here. A beautiful elephant card with tribal decorations on it, because you know how I'm crazy about elephants, if you guys haven't figured that out yet. But it was from my friends in Australia, and they sent it all the way. It cost them like freaking $4 to send a stupid card.
It's not stupid though. It's not stupid.
But right, it's on my desk. It warmed my heart. It was terrific. And it was not a bill. It was like, oh my gosh, somebody hand wrote something. And that's something you guys can do. There's a company called Send Out Cards that I used to use quite a bit. I don't know why I haven't used them recently. Oh, I know why, because I've been doing client work. But they're wonderful, and you can send out birthday cards, thank you cards, congratulation cards, I'm sorry for your loss cards, or whatever. And they also have gifts connected. Like they have the best brownies. Have you had brownies from Send Out Cards?
Nope, never.
They're so good. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
Well, now you know what you need to send me.
Okay, good deal. But those kinds of things, sendoutcards.com, I highly recommend them. I used to have an affiliate link. I don't. This is just for you guys. Check it out. They're very easy, very user-friendly. And so rewarding people who are in your community, they remember that stuff. Like I do. I remember gift baskets that I've gotten in the holidays. And I remember birthday cards, and when I, lost my dog and people sent sympathy cards. Those things really, because like you said, nowadays more than ever, like we hardly get any personal mail. So if you want to spend a little, if you want to really make a difference and make an impression, sending something in the mail is going to work really well now more than ever.
Yeah, and there's like all kinds of like really, like so many apps that you can cut the middleman, and right. Like all kind of like little tchotchkes like that are great from directly from China, and it costs you $1. Yeah, it costs you $1, and it totally makes a difference in people's lives. So that's the after, flirt, keep sending them stuff. Be in touch. Doesn't have to cost you anything, just a nice word or being heard. It's really what all people need.
That's exactly right. And so again, I want to say it kind of builds on the trust factor, because you're continuing to build the level of trust. And that's important, because these people who are spending their time or their money are very discerning nowadays.
Yeah.
And if they're in your community, that's a treasure. You need to respect them and take care of them and continue to to nurture that relationship. So that is what the after factor is about. Like I said, it's very similar to the trust factor, but it doesn't mean that it's any less important. After the sale, you've got to continue to flourish that relationship. So why don't we have a look at David's headline? Can we do that?
Yeah, we are trying to get David in. So David, just click that button and join us. He's like, he and I are like chatting on like, okay, how does he get in? So get in.
Well, even if you can't, maybe you can show me the headline or read it to me again.
Yes, I will. And actually,
okay.
So Paula gave him a great feedback on it. So yeah, see, we're building a relationship in a community.
I know. Well, it's so true. It's so true. Paula drew us a red hot chicken that's fabulous. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's on the replays and on the boards. But thank you for that. It's really cool. I love it.
Yeah. And so so his headline is, doesn't your marketing deserve the very best images? And do you want to give feedback, or do you want me to tell you what Paula said in relation to that?
Well, doesn't your marketing deserve the very best images? I want to give a little feedback, and then I want to hear what Paula says and see if we're on. All right, so what I like about that headline, David, is that it's very direct, short, and to the point. It's like, images are important because nowadays, right, people are looking online, the images and the graphics have become a lot more important than they used to be because we're going 1,000 miles an hour. So what I like about it is that it's definitive, it's right to the point. What is missing is the emotional aspect. And that's what we've been talking about throughout this experience. So doesn't your marketing deserve the very best images? So I would take it more to a one-on-one person, like imagining your target, which is your avatar, your persona, the person who you want to be writing to, and say, doesn't your marketing deserve the very best images? Wouldn't it be, I'm going to tell you honestly, when I write, I create by writing, not by thinking off the top of my head. But when you add emotion, I just want you to keep that in mind, and I will think on this some more. But wouldn't it be, you know what, let's go to Paula while I figure this out.
Okay, so Paula said, by best, she goes like, I do wonder what specific sort of best might that be. And so David said, well, I meant highest quality, visually appealing, real eye candy. And then he said maybe compelling, dynamic, stunning.
Those are all great adjectives, by the way. Really great adjectives, David. Those should be in your headline. Some of those, like, doesn't your marketing deserve to, not even doesn't your marketing deserve, it's, I want you to bring it more down to who the target is. So wouldn't you like, how about, wouldn't your clients be ecstatic? I'm just totally making this up off the top of my head. Be ecstatic.
But you know what? The nice thing is, like, we still have tomorrow. There's still one more day, so we can still sit down and, like, you can actually sleep on it, and David can come in tomorrow if you want to.
We might do that because, like I said, that's my creative process. Some people are creative off the top of their head. I am a creative writer. It's from hand to paper or fingers to computer keyboard, that's when it starts coming out. But what I want you to think about, and this is what I'm going to be sitting on, David, is the emotional part of it. And some of those adjectives, like I said, are amazing, and they should be in your headline. Not all of them, but make some choices. And I will have, I promise you, I will have some ideas for you as I throughout the day.
Yeah. So Cheryl wrote something really nice here in the comments, and she said, "Imagine how your prospects will respond to your ad when your image speaks right to them." What do you think?
Beautiful. I love this. That's emotional. That's in the here and now, and that's much more compelling rather than just sort of the dry headline. No offense, David, but it is accurate, but we're missing that like oomph. That's all. Yeah. So Cheryl, that was a great contribution. Thank you.
I know. I wish we still had our clapping thing. It's like, okay, yeah.
You guys don't know, but when Yafat and I first started working together, they had all these different sound effects on Google Hangouts, and she's kind of a junkie for them, like clapping and drum rolls, and
yeah,
and they took them away from you. I'm sorry.
I know. I am heartbroken. I need a sound effect for like. So tomorrow, 7 a.m. baby, Pacific time, we're gonna be up at 9 a.m. Central, and you lucky people at Eastern or Australia or Europe, it's gonna be even later. So tomorrow we're talking about how we're turning your clients into your brand ambassadors, raving fans. And that's right. That's taking it to the next level. That actually creates a ripple effect and like viral marketing and free advertising and referrals and testimonials and all that awesome jazz that you really, really want. Basically, isn't that the difference between a thriving business and just like a acquisition business?
Absolutely. And that's what this is all about. That's what evolutionary marketing is about. And I think a lot of people are starting to figure that out. People don't want just a transactional business. They do want a relationship. And if you want to stay with the tide, this is something that you need to do. And again, people who get over 40,000 points in this game, which is so easy to do just by sharing and liking and being on here and watching the replays, you get points and you will get an extra $800 off of my program. There are only 12 people there. We already have 5 people signed up. I expect it to sell out. So I'm just giving you a little warning. If you just go to evolutionarymarketingplan.com, you can see what we're offering, and we'll go from there. Again, the videos will stay up until Monday, but tomorrow is our big
day. It's our last day, and Lori will have to wake up early, so we're going to see Lori's morning face.
You tease me, but I used to get up in the morning for when my boys were little, so I can do it. I'm telling you.
So we'll see it. So everyone, thanks so much for joining us here today. Hope you got a bunch of tons of ideas of how to retain your clients and turn them from just clients, closing them, to the after effect, what you need to do to maintain them. And tomorrow we're going to talk about how we make them your biggest brands advocates. 7 a.m. Pacific.
Exactly. Wonderful. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Continue commenting. David, I will get back with you on some headline ideas. Cheryl, thank you for the information, and all of you who joined us today. And I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. And there will also be a 1 o'clock Facebook Live as just a sort of an after party, so we can say our goodbyes. Oh, so sad.
Hello.